In the headlines, Spain-bound passenger arrested with 96 wraps of illicit drugs at Abuja airport. Fire raises down 50 makeshift rooms in Port Harcourt community. NCDC probe over sanctions of 9 billion naira COVID-19 response intervention fund. And on the foreign scene, Pope Francis denounces Europe's indifference to the plight of migrants. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. The Department of State Services, DSS, has arrested Managing Director of Kano State Consumer Protection Council, KCPC, General Idris Bello Dambazo, retired, over allegations of economic sabotage. Dambazo is arrested for allegedly sealing off 7 filling stations in the state capital, an act the secret police said is unilateral and unconstitutional. Daily Trust reports that Dambazo had sealed 7 filling stations, and the Constitution is against that act, as he did not inform the Department for Petroleum Resources. He is being charged with the offense of economic sabotage in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is billed to be charged to court on Monday. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje appointed General Dambazo, retired, as the Managing Director of the Council in September 2021. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a 44-year-old father of 3, Gabriel Anthony Patrick, for ingesting 96 pellets of cocaine at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Spokesman of the agency, Femi Babafemi, said on Sunday in Abuja that Gabriel, a native of Nike in Enugu North local government area of Enugu State, was arrested on Friday, 26 November, during an outward clearance of Turkish airline at the boarding screening area of the airport en route Abuja, Istanbul, Madrid. In the same vein, NDLEA operatives at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport have arrested one Okorie Godwin over his attempt to export 21.85 kilograms of cannabis concealed in foodstuff to London. Meanwhile, 5 students of the American University of Nigeria, AUN Yola, Adamawa State, and the University of Maiduguri, Borno State, are among suspects arrested for drug offences in raids across 9 states in the last week. 4 people have been killed, scores injured in Dugara, Daurawa and Gidangadi villages of Matazu local government area of Katsina State. This is coming in spite of all security measures adopted to restore peace in Katsina State. Trust TV News correspondent Abdullahi Ismail Madi in Katsina tells us more.
According to one Ibrahim Usman, a resident of Erkiria village in Musa local government, just a stone throw from the affected villages, he told Trust Television that the bandits came in large number and started shooting sporadically on the villages, and of course they rustled several animals, wounded several people, and they forced so many people out of the villages. As at the time he was reporting the issue to Trust Television, he said several women and children have fled the villages to neighboring towns and cities across the state. When contacted for comment, Police Public Relations Officer of Katsina State Police Command, SP Gambo Isa, said they are yet to receive any information about the attack, and as soon as they get the information, they will make it public. However, Trust Television gathered that the villagers who fled the affected areas are now taking refuge in Malumfashi, Musawa, and Matazu towns. From Katsina, Abdullahi Ismail reporting for Trust Television.
Meanwhile, about 60 kidnapped victims, including those abducted at Emmanuel Baptist Church, Kakaudaji, Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, have been reunited with their families. The victims were brought to the Albaka Baptist Church and were accompanied by security agents. It was a moment of mixed feelings for relations who came to be reunited with the victims. Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said the rescued victims include those abducted along Kaduna-Kachia Road and Emmanuel Baptist Church, Kakaudaji.
They have with them over 60 citizens who were kidnapped in different locations. they want Kaduna State government to take possession of these citizens, and government collected these people and we handed them over to the leadership of Kaduna Baptist Conference. And there are other citizens whose relations were here. We equally do the same thing. That is what we did. But from what we can see, they are largely victims of kidnapping that took place at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Kakaudaji in Chukun local government. And there are other citizens who were kidnapped along the Kaduna-Kachia road. I think in summary, this is it.
It is not certain how much is paid for ransom to secure their release. So recall that 65 worshippers were abducted during a Sunday service by bandits on the 30th of October 2021. Another fire has razed down a makeshift settlement at Rumokalagbo community in Port Harcourt City Council late Saturday evening, with over 50 rooms affected and property worth millions destroyed. Correspondent who visited the scene of the fire incident now reports.
The affected residents say the fire began from a stove suspected to be filled with adulterated kerosene called bonfire, where a boy is making indomie around 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. They lamented that the fire burned all their properties. One of the landlord of the affected tenant, Silverlene Kalabo, and some other victims gave details about the incident.
They said that one boy is cooking indomie while the sister is sick, lying on the ground, kicked the stove. The thing hit at the something of carton. That's how the fire started. They called me. I should come that my bacha is catching fire. I say, how can? I say, let me not just go immediately because people are here. They have not already called me. It's outside people that are calling me. Before I pay the attention, is one of my brother. This all just left. Call me. It's true. I should come. Now I come down this place. There is nothing I see in this place. Nothing left. Nothing keep. Nothing. There is nothing. People, property, everything. All my bacha, almost 50 bacha is here. All is damaged.
Back late. I wasn't around that very moment, but when I came back late, I saw the incident happen. The thing was very, very tough. Well. So by the time we tried to quench the fire, the thing was exploding like that. They say it's one small boy that light up the lights from their house. So before then, we come, the fire has exploded everywhere. So I don't have too much time to, because the fire has burned all our house. Nothing where we come out here, nothing where we have done, where we don't come out for this place. So even you can see, the thing burned almost about 40 something rooms here.
Yesterday, so I come out from work because my son was sick the before yesterday night. So I just come out from work that yesterday, so let me go and rush and buy some drugs for my son for chemist. So after coming back from buying the drugs from chemist, I saw at the front here, I see the lights. So I run down to the place. I see some people packing some things. So I just run me to come and pick some of my things here. Why the fire always catch my house? So I run out, I run empty. Nothing I pick to the house, nothing, even pin. I don't pick anything to my house. So that's only my body I pick. So I don't know where to go, know what I got to start from.
The victims condemned the slow response of fire service and called on government to come to their aid as all properties burnt down, including a church.
I have to tell government, if God will touch them, they should help us to make this place to be as it's before, and to help the poor, because I know many of them don't have destination to go. Because I know how I'm managing with them. Even the paying of the rent is war. I'm even having pity more than myself for them. I know how they're managing. It's not easy for them. And they did not have anything from inside their house. Everything is damaged. Nothing is ordinary ground. Fire service come later. I was after 10, if I'm not mistaken. By that time, the fire have already done whatever I want to do. Everything, 9:30.
If government can put on their hand and find something for us for here, so that we can help ourselves, because there's no way. See the population of people. Even yesterday we sleep outside. So many people sleep here outside, and so many people lost their property, lost their everything. Nothing that you can see here. So if I thought they can help us here and at least we can start our life afresh again. You understand? So that's what I'm begging, even if it is government or individual, or if they can render even clothes for people that doesn't care clothes, or even food, can bring it, because as it is now, we are hopeless. We don't know where to go.
Recall that several fire incidents have happened in River State within 2 weeks as a result of illegal petroleum product, popularly called bonfire.
You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, reminiscing the good old days. Do stay with us.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the TrustTV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search TrustTV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. TrustTV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. Department of State Services, DSS, has arrested Managing Director of Kano State Consumer Protection Council, KCPC, General Idris Bello Dambazo, retired, over allegations of economic sabotage and another fire has razed down a makeshift settlement at Rumukalagbo community in Port Harcourt City Council late Saturday evening, with over 50 rooms affected and properties worth millions destroyed. Moving on to other news now, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts has summoned the Director General of Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, over alleged payment of a part of 9 billion naira federal government's COVID-19 response intervention through the personal accounts of some of his staff. The committee summoned the DG over the weekend based on an audit query by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to give account of the agency's spending on COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021. Chairman of the committee, Oluwole Oke, said records show that the NCDC got 620 million for March to December 2020, 5 billion for March 2020 to March 2021, and 3.49 billion for January to September 2021 from the federal government to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. OK said from the documents and other submissions by the agency, parts of the money were paid into private accounts of some of its staff, which he said was against the procurement laws of Nigeria. The committee therefore demands the agency to present all relevant records on how the funds were expended at the next sitting of the committee. Similarly, officials of Julius Berger Nigeria, Cetraco, and some other construction firms appeared before the committee over alleged tax evasion. An unidentified woman is receiving medical attention at the Mararaba Medical Center for about 3 months now after being unconscious and could not speak or identify herself. This is happening amidst concern about the state of health services in hospitals across the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Chijioke Okafo tells us more on the story.
Despite the various reforms to increase the provision of health to the Nigerian people, health access is only 43.3%. Political instability, corruption, limited institutional capacity, and an unstable economy are major factors responsible for the poor development of health services in Nigeria. We visited the Mararaba Medical Center to have a better understanding of what healthcare services look like in the hospital, but we were denied free access to film anything or have interviews with anyone. However, from what our eyes and hidden cameras could catch, most of the patients there were women and children, and since we couldn't speak to any of them, it is still unclear whether healthcare services are up to standard here. After much persuasion, we were allowed access into the female ward, a somewhat darkly lit room with patients lined up across both sides of the wall. This woman has been in this hospital for 3 months. Health staff at the facility say she was brought in unconscious and has since been unable to speak or identify herself.
The person you are seeing here, we don't know her name. She was brought unconscious from somewhere, primary hair care, and then we started treating her, and God help us, she's recovering. More than 2 months now. You know, I told you she was unconscious. She became conscious now. And up to now, she cannot talk well. We ask her questions. She cannot tell us what is her name, where she comes from.
The head nurse at the medical center says since the woman was brought in, they have been the ones taking care of her medical issues and feeding her. This also takes us back to several unreported cases of unidentified missing people. This is just one out of many similar cases, and often it ends tragically.
People have been helping, and you know it's not all that they can do. Sometimes we will need something for her. They may not be around, so we now place her under indigence. The hospital authority have been taking care, providing some things to take care of her.
The Nigerian healthcare system is poorly developed. No adequate and functional surveillance systems are developed to achieve success in healthcare in this modern era. A system well grounded in routine surveillance and medical intelligence as the backbone of the health sector is necessary, besides adequate management coupled with strong leadership principles. Chijoke Okafo, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, says to achieve sustainable and stable democratic governance and national integration, the exemplary leadership styles of late Malam Aminu Kano, who laid a solid foundation for good governance and national cohesion during his lifetime, should be emulated. He said this at the 21st anniversary of Mubaya House, held in Kano State. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibril reports that the program is organized to remember the life and time of the late Malam Aminu Kano.
It is the 21st anniversary of Aminu Kano Center for Democratic Studies, Mumbai House, and these politicians, educationists, religious and community leaders are all here to pay tribute to the late Kano's politician. The aim of the program focuses on democracy, good governance, and the question of national integration, which is said to be the main areas of late Aminu Kano's concern during his lifetime. According to Governor Fayemi, Malam Aminu Kano has over his lifetime maintained a policy of good governance and national integration despite the Nigeria's political division.
We can borrow a leaf from the late Malam Aminu Kano and resolve that as part and parcel of the bargain of being a citizen of Nigeria, we will strive to design universal social policies that will enable the generality of our people to renew their faith in the country and their government. Universal access to education should be accompanied by a system of universal health care. It should be underpinned with a national strategy that defines employment creation as a priority concern of public policy. Enhanced efforts at boosting domestic resource mobilization will need to be accompanied by deliberate measures at redistribution designed to reduce wealth, income, gender, and intergenerational inequalities.
In order to ensure good governance and national integration, there is the need for a collaborative effort to not only emulate but also put into action the teachings and guidance of Malam Aminu Kano through ensuring prosperity by keeping tribes and religious differences aside.
As a country, we have continued to invest in improving our democratic process and systems to ensure the votes of our citizens truly count. So sometimes we Nigerians do not give ourselves enough credit for the successes we have achieved from 1999 to date. As I look around this room, I'm very happy to see people from different political parties and different parts of the country. What makes me prouder is despite our political, tribal, and religious differences, we are all friends. We are all brothers, and we are all strong believers in settling our differences through ballot, not violence.
To continue sustaining Mumbaya House in Kano is to continue paying tribute to the very many achievements of Malam Aminu Kano, not only in areas of democracy and good governance, but in all aspects of human life. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Former Director General of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Chijoke Ezekechukwu, says free fall of the Naira should not be blamed on poor monetary policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria alone. He said that other institutions of government are partially responsible for the apparent collapse of the Naira and high inflation rate in the country.
We have put all the blame about exchange rate on Central Bank. The truth is that Central Bank should not even take up to 20% of that blame. The entire blame should be on many other areas of the country. One of the areas is the same insecurity in the country we're talking about. Another area is the physical side of our economy, which is the way managed by another ministry, Ministry of Finance. What CBN is trying to do is just to be able to manage the kind of revenue base we have and the kind of inflows of foreign exchange we have and use it to make decisions of monetary policy. Otherwise, CBN should not take up to 20% of the blame of why our exchange rate is this way. Yeah, because there are many other factors responsible for where we are today. One factor is the fact that our revenue base is almost low, very, very low. We remain having our revenue base with oil, when we can actually generate a lot of revenue from other sectors. Now, one thing everybody should ponder, about is the fact that oil is contributing up to 90% of our revenue base, yet it's not contributing up to 50% of our GDP. Other sectors are contributing up to 80% of our GDP. Yet, those other sectors that are contributing 80% of our GDP are not contributing to our revenue base. So, it's a thing to worry and a thing to start asking questions. If oil that is contributing 10% or more, slightly above 10% of our revenue base is contributing far less to GDP, and others are contributing more to GDP, but less to revenue, there is something going wrong that we need to correct. If we can correct that, our revenue base will increase.
Meanwhile, Nigeria and President Muhammadu Buhari has taken over the presidency of the Agency for the Great Green Wall in Africa, PAGGW, for the next 2 years. This is made known to newsmen by the Minister of State for Environment, Chief Sharon Ikezo, at the end of the 4th ordinary session of the Conference of Heads of State and Government of the Pan-African Agency for the Great Green Wall in Africa. Ikezo expressed optimism that with the unparalleled commitment of President Buhari on addressing issues of climate change and desertification, coupled with the immense respect he commands within the international community, a lot will be achieved during his tenure. She also stated that in his acceptance speech of the PAGGW leadership, President Muhammadu Buhari stated that all things being equal, Nigeria will strengthen efforts in mobilizing of resources for the accelerated accomplishment of the Decennial Priority Investment Plan (DPIP) in 2021 to 2030 and its concrete implementation action. Pope Francis has denounced Europe's indifference to the plight of migrants as the shipwreck of civilization. During a visit to the refugee camp in the Greek island of Lesbos on Sunday, the leader of the Catholic Church arrived at the camp where nearly 2,200 asylum seekers currently reside. He is on the second day of a 5-day-long visit to Greece and Cyprus, dominated by the issue of migration. He condemned the exploitation of migrants for political purposes, lamenting that Europe had entered an era of walls and barbed wire. The Pope last visited Lesbos in 2016, when more than 1 million people crossed from Turkey into Greece, and the island became one of the busiest crossing points on that occasion. Pope Francis brought 12 Syrian Muslims refugees home with him aboard the Papal plane. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has sympathized with the people of Wushishi local government, Kwantagore Emirate, and the entire Nigerites over the death of an elder statesman, General Muhammad Inuwa Wushishi, retired. Governor Sani Bello, in a condolence message signed by Chief Press Secretary Mary Noel, described the late General Wushishi as a gentleman, father, soldier, and an administrator of high ethics and impeccable morality. The governor maintained that even after active service, late General Wushishi had continued to offer useful counsel that helped in the development of the society, adding that his demise creates a vacuum that can only be filled by Allah. The governor prayed to Allah to forgive all the shortcomings of the deceased and grant him Al-Jannah Firdaus, as well as give the entire people of the state and close associates the fortitude to bear the great loss. Similarly, the Registrar National Examination Council, Professor Anthony Wushishi, has described the death of General Muhammad Inuwa Wushishi as a great loss to the people of Wushishi and Niger State. Professor Wushishi, in a statement by Aziz Sani, Head of Information and Public Relations Division, described the late elder statesman as a quintessential leader whose footprints will remain indelible in the sands of time. And now, before we end news update, here is a kicker. 18-year-old artificial intelligence whiz Mercy Sampson's robotic prototypes has wowed Nigeria. Now she wants Africa to focus on artificial intelligence and the opportunities provided by the fourth industrial revolution. Meanwhile, she also has a personal point to prove. She is a deaf person living in a country where that is a problem. Let's take a look.
During coronavirus, I made a project of hand sanitizer so people do not have to touch to spread the disease.
She is a critical thinker. She is very observant, and her passion really motivates me.
We have made in scratch, made animations, fish animations, driving animations, games back and forth, many things.
Science is not for the deaf. This is what we have been fighting, for ages. Today I've not seen a deaf school where they offer science class. In fact, in the few inclusive schools, we have to really battle.
And that wraps it up for Trust TV News Update for this evening. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for staying with us.